Hello, and listen to me very carefully. There is a breed of human that walks among us completely unnoticed. You pass them in the grocery store. You sit beside them on the train. You scroll past their name on your phone without a second thought. They do not demand attention. They do not seek applause. They do not post their wins before the ink is dry. And yet, while the world is busy clapping for the loudest voice in the room, these quiet ones are quietly, methodically, and ruthlessly building empires that will outlast the noise. This is not a personality type. This is a psychological framework. It is the psychology of people who win quietly. And once you understand how their minds truly operate, you will never look at silence the same way again. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most dangerous. In fact, psychological research on human behavior reveals something startling. The need to announce your goals, to broadcast your intentions, to seek validation before the work is done. This is not a sign of confidence. It is a sign of an underdeveloped prefrontal cortex seeking external dopamine to compensate for a lack of internal certainty. The person who wins quietly has rewired this circuit. They do not speak their goals into existence. They bury their goals in the soil of discipline and wait for the harvest to announce itself. When you tell someone your plan, your brain releases the same chemical reward as if you had already achieved it. The quiet winner knows this trick of the mind and refuses to fall for it. They starve their ego of premature celebration and feed only the work. The work does not care about applause. The work only cares about completion. And the quiet winner is married to completion, not to recognition. There is a specific kind of freedom that only exists in the shadows. When no one knows what you are building, no one can sabotage it. Sabotage does not always arrive with a villain's smile. Sometimes it arrives with a friend's concern. Sometimes it arrives with a family member's fear disguised as love. Sometimes it arrives as the subtle, invisible pressure of living up to a public identity you announced before you earned it. The quiet winner understands that visibility is vulnerability in its earliest stage. An unformed dream is like a newborn fawn. It is fragile. It cannot defend itself against the wolves of opinion, doubt, and jealousy. So the quiet winner protects their vision with a ferocity that looks like secrecy, but is actually wisdom. They build the walls before they invite anyone inside. They create the foundation before they raise the flag. And by the time the world finds out what they have been up to, it is already too late to stop it. The psychology of quiet winners is rooted in something ancient and rare. It is called an internal locus of control. Most people operate from an external locus. They need the weather to change. They need the economy to improve. They need someone to believe in them. They need a sign. The quiet winner needs none of these things. They have located the center of power inside their own ribcage. They do not wait for the perfect moment, because they understand that the perfect moment is a fantasy sold by people who never started. They do not wait for motivation because they have studied motivation and found it to be a fair-weather friend. They rely on something far less glamorous and far more reliable. They rely on systems. They rely on habits. They rely on the unshakable decision that was made in a private moment when no one was watching. That decision did not need a witness. It only needed a follow-through. You must understand the relationship between silence and power. They are not opposites. They are not even separate. Silence is the container in which power is stored. Think of a lake. A loud, rushing river looks impressive. It makes noise. It draws tourists. But it is shallow. You can see the bottom. Now think of a deep, still lake. No waves, no noise, no performance, but its depth is unknown. Its capacity is hidden. Its stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness compressed into calm. The quiet winner is that deep lake. They have trained their nervous system to remain regulated when others would panic. They have trained their mind to remain focused when others would scatter. They have trained their mouth to remain closed when others would speak. This is not repression. This is mastery. This is the psychological state of equanimity. And it is the foundation upon which every lasting empire is quietly built. There is another layer to this psychology that few people discuss. The quiet winner has made peace with being misunderstood. This is a superpower. Most people are terrified of being misjudged. They spend hours crafting explanations. They rehearse defenses. They curate an image to ensure the world sees them in a certain light. The quiet winner has released this burden. They understand that being misunderstood is the price of moving in silence. When you do not explain yourself, people will fill the gap with their own assumptions. They will call you arrogant. They will call you distant. They will call you lucky when you finally emerge. The quiet winner absorbs these labels and does not flinch. They do not defend their process. They do not interrupt their growth to correct the narrative. They let the results do the talking. And results, unlike words, cannot be argued with. Results sit on the table like a royal flush. Silent, devastating, final. The quiet winner also understands the mathematics of energy. Every word you speak is a withdrawal from a finite account. Every explanation you give is energy that could have been poured into the work. Every argument you entertain is a leak in the vessel of your focus. The psychology of quiet winning is, at its core, the psychology of conservation. You are protecting the asset, and the asset is not your talent. It is not your intelligence. It is not even your time. The asset is your attention. Where your attention goes, your life flows. The quiet winner guards their attention like a soldier guards a fortress gate. They do not let the opinions of strangers slip through. They do not let the drama of the day steal their creative force. They are stingy with their focus and generous only with their craft. This is why they move faster than the loud ones. Not because they are more gifted, but because they have fewer leaks in the ship. The same voices that doubted you are now offering praise. The same rooms that were closed are now swinging their doors wide open. And here is where the quiet winner reveals the depth of their transformation. They do not react with bitterness. They do not say, "Where were you when I was struggling?" They simply nod. That is the psychology of people who win quietly. They are not antisocial. They are not broken. They are just operating on a frequency that most people cannot hear. And that frequency is the sound of destiny being built one unseen brick at a time. So now you understand the framework. Now you see the psychology behind the silence. The question is no longer, why do they move like that? The question is, will you? Will you close your mouth and open your discipline? Will you bury your goals in the ground and water them in private? Will you become the deep lake instead of the loud river? The world does not need more noise. The world is choking on noise. The world is drowning in announcements, previews, trailers, and promises that were never kept. What the world needs, what your life needs, is a quiet revolution, a decision made in the dark, a promise kept when no one is clapping, a transformation so complete that by the time they notice, you are already on the other side of becoming. This channel is for the quiet ones, the builders, the silent architects of their own destiny. If that is you, then you have found your home. Hit subscribe. Turn on the bell. Not because I need your subscription, but because you need the reminder. You need the anchor. You need the voice in your ear when the silence gets loud and the doubt creeps in and the world tells you to just be normal. You are not normal. You are next level, and we will see you in the quiet, where the real work gets done.